No. Hi guys, how are you? Today's video is going to be a coffee chat. So as usual, I won't put any insert in this video. You can just play me in the background when you're doing your chores. Before I start the video, okay, let me put my coffee down. I have all my notes here. So before I start the video, there is an announcement I want to make that my film is going to screening in person at Artlist International Film Festival, which will be hosted in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going to head over next weekend, which will be the 22nd and the 23rd. The film is going to be screening in the evening on 22nd, so I'm going to leave a link down below and all the information down below so you can check it out. If you happen to live in Phoenix and want to watch my film on the big screen, I hope I can see you there. Yeah, that's the announcement. And coming up, there will be a Paris International Film Festival, which is going to be virtual. So if you are interested in watching my film before it's officially released, it will be showing between February 10th to February 20th. I'm going to also leave Paris International Film Festival's information down below so you can check it out. Yeah, those are the things I want to announce to you in terms of how you can watch my film before it's officially released. So today's topic, as you might already see in the title, is about envy and how can we use it for good. Before I talk about envy and how I use envy as a tool, I want to talk about the resistance towards the things I do. It was a strange feeling when I starting out my writing and filmmaking career, that it was something I always wanted since I was a kid, so I wasn't expecting of experience resistance towards it. The resistance manifested in a way of let's say self-sabotage, procrastination, self-sabotage in a way of I can see myself purposefully doing something or something else, or pursuing something else instead of my writing, or procrastination in terms of even when I want to focus on work on my writing, it always take a long time to start. It always not glamorous as what it seems. And then later I gradually learned that we will always have resistance towards things that we like or we pursue. There will be always an oppositional force towards things we're trying to do. Otherwise it's going to be so easy, everybody's going to achieve what they want. And there are many reasons to contribute to this resistance. One thing can summarize all the reasons is the feeling of inadequacy. For example, when I grew up, I was told that artist is a bad word. Like, artist is that kind of career you don't want to have. It almost like it brings shame to the family because it's entertainers. That's what my parents used to tell me. And also when I expressed to them that I want to be a filmmaker many times when I was a kid, there was always talk of how film industry is for people who have a lot of money, or who has parents already in the industry, or who has already very famous. It's not for ordinary people. So when I was a kid, grew up, I have a sense of separation between me and then people who is in the film industry, as of I'm the person who is ordinary, and those people are the people who is special. It took me a long time to learn about those people's life, to read their bios and look into a lot of the stories of their lives, to realize all the people are ordinary in this world, and it is ordinary people doing the extraordinary things. In fact, majority of respectable, successful filmmakers who come from a place that's the opposite of what they have now. They were not come from a place of rich or a place of famous. They created their reality and then their career. So that kind of gave me some assurance of, yes, I can pursue this career. But at the same time, because those negative talks, those inadequacy speeches that my family, my culture has on me for decades, they impact on my brain. So no matter how much I understand that I'm more than capable of pursuing this career, there will be always something trying to pull me back, and that thing will become my resistance. If you really look into your childhood, your culture background a little bit more, you might start identify a lot of thoughts in your mind that creating that resistance force for you. And we can't really change that, but we only can work and practice, find a way around to it, like have a routine, build a community like this one, to have a bunch of people inspire and motivate each other, or creating a working environment to make you feel a little bit more excited to create, or easy to get into the zone to create. I don't think we can really get rid of the resistance at all. And the more we care about something, the more resistance we're going to have, because we care so much. We have enormous fear of not being able to get it, and that fear itself already creating a lot of resistance. Like, it's like the thought of, if I work so hard, what if I don't get it? Then I might as well not working on it. Things like that. I think it's always good to identify them. So if we always have resistance towards things we want to do, then how can we know if it's something we're meant to do? That was a question I asked myself for a long time when I was younger. So I think the first time I did my NV practice was in my college years. I was in engineering school as what my parents wanted, and I have been communicating with them since I was a kid that I want to be a filmmaker. But when everybody around you, your family, your culture, society telling you that that's not a good idea, then you really, kind of internalize and think it's not a good idea. So that's why I went to engineer school and was going to pursue an engineering career or some sort of business career that my parents wanted me to have. At the time, I remember I wasn't enjoying all the work I was doing or the college study I was doing, and I subscribed to a Chinese filmmaker magazine, and I always reading those magazines. Every time I feel those tight knot, very comfortable feeling inside of me when I see new project coming up, especially like those articles of the behind the scene of the productions, the picture of the productions, things like that. And I realized that's the feeling of envy. So I asked myself, if I have a successful engineering or business career that my parents wanted me to have, and I'm very rich, and then I have all the things I need 10 or 20 years from now, and one day I open a filmmakers magazine and see somebody's making a new movie and hearing the story behind the scenes, will I feel this same feeling, which is the tight knot feeling inside of me? I call it envy. And my answer was yes, I'll definitely feel that. I'll feel miserable, in fact. And because of that exercise, I made my mind that I have to make a movie. I can't do anything else but become a filmmaker. that's when I made the shift that I have to, against my family's will, and then to pursue my career. So that's how I knew, even though there was a very difficult process and I was dealing with a lot of self-sabotage and the resistance towards it, I always redo the exercise to check in with myself as an assurance for myself that knowing if I do not do the hard work, if I do not push through the resistance, I will feel envy 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and I may get regret on my deathbed. That's really how I felt. And that's when I start like the envy feeling more and more. So now I'm become at a place that every time when I feel envy of something, I immediately want to look into a little bit more. I want to analyze, like let's say I envy somebody, maybe go travel somewhere, doing something, and I feel the sensation of envy. I check in with myself to analyze what is about this situation that I feel envy of, and then to check in with myself if that's something I want or I lack of. Because remember, envy is always come from a place of scarcity. It's a place of that somebody have something that you think you can have as well, but you don't right now. So I find envy becomes a very useful tool to build much more awareness of who I am and what I want. There are sometimes, let's say, I see people very successful in a way, or making a lot of quick money in a way. I feel those sort of envy feeling as well. But I also check in with myself and then ask myself, 10 years from now, will I be okay if I don't have that? And then the answer is yes. Then that means that envy feeling is not caused by my nature. It's not caused by what I want. It's probably caused by my environment. Let's say my environment, the society taught you it's good to have like a higher position. It's good to be famous. It's good to be rich. So when you see other people have those things quickly, or when you see people figure those things out, you feel slightly envy towards it. And that's natural because you're sort of like brainwashed by society that way. But will I be okay to not having that 10 years from now? Will I be okay to not having that 20 years from now? If the answer is yes, then that may be not my calling. So I always use this 20 years later envy exercise to check in with myself. And you can always swap the position. Let's say I gave you an example of if I'm very rich, but I'm not a filmmaker, how would I feel? I will feel jealous, envy of those people who is making film. Then, okay, let's say if I am a filmmaker, I can make ends meet. I have financial freedom. I might not rich. Well, I envy the people who, let's say, have mansions, millions of dollars, and have all the stuff they want traveling around the world. I feel no. I don't really feel envy of them if I'm already a working filmmaker that can make ends meet and have a roof over my head and have enough food to eat. I feel pretty content. So have those kind of comparison 20 years from now is how I kind of check in with myself to make sure I am on the right path. So I feel envy is actually a very good feeling. Just as much as fear, it's a feeling that can help us build more awareness to identify who we are if we can use it right. If we can't understand it, and when we feel the feeling, we just feel the feeling and not reading into it a little more, not use it as a tool to analyze ourselves, then we kind of get very confused and then maybe controlled by it and then do things that we might not want to do. If we can really use it as a tool to analyze ourselves, use it as a tool to build that level of awareness. It will become a guide for us, and it will become the fuel of motivation. Hi, it's Editing Nani here. I just want to really share this. What I mean by the feeling of envy is if somebody told me that they have a very nice car like Lamborghini or something, I would think, oh, it is a nice car, but I don't feel anything. I don't feel those uncomfortable feeling like I want that too. But if somebody tell me that I made an indie film and that indie film is got picked up and it will be showing in a movie theater, like just by saying that, I can feel a kind of, I can't describe, like a knot in here. And I know that's what I care about. So the reason I say envy is our guidance is if you really think about all the things people would define as good, like cars, house, money, art, being a painter, being a writer, or become a basketball player, all that stuff, there are things you do not care about, and there are things can give you that really uncomfortable feeling. It's time to trust that uncomfortable feeling. Okay, back to the video. I almost doing my envy check several times a week now. Every time when I see something, every time, not even only for filmmaking, but different aspects of life, like relationships or living for a thing, I will check in with myself. Will I be okay if I don't have it like 5 years from now? If I don't have it 10 years from now? And if I know if I don't have it 10 years from now, it will make me miserable, that's probably something I will start pursue. And I always identify what is the thing in this aspect of, let's say, this person's career that I'm envy of. Am I envy because they are successful filmmaker that's famous, or am I envy because they are successful filmmaker who is rich, or am I envy because they're successful filmmaker whose work resonate with a lot of audience? I always trying to go into more detail to identify the specifics of what I'm envy of and then pursuing that instead. For example, I would do such a detailed envy check of, let's say, if 10 years from now I'm a working filmmaker, I make enough money, and then my work is constantly putting out there, and there are a lot of audience engaged with my work, and then my work resonates with them. Versus, I'm a very successful filmmaker. I'm making blockbuster movie. Those movie doesn't mean much, but they make a ton of money for me. And which these two, which one I will feel more envy of? I clearly feel I will feel more envy of the filmmaker who have work resonate with the audience and change people's life, but maybe that work is not targeted to a broad range of audience, not really marketable, making too much money, but it's sustainable in terms of for my life. I think I prefer that kind of life. I hope I'm making sense. That's how I do my 20 years from now envy check. You can also do a 5-year check, 10 years check, depends on how big the thing is. I want to always make sure to spread this idea. Don't worry about the resistance that you're feeling right now towards the work you love. And in fact, you're supposed to feel the feeling. Just check in with yourself to see how would you feel if you reach your goal 10 years from now, instead of struggling in this moment, keep self-doubting whether or not you're supposed to be the writer if you feel the resistance in you. I mentioned many times in my channel that I think the society gave us an impression of if you be an artist, you're supposed to be full in, you're so obsessed and talented and that's all you do. And that's not true. And ironically, that kind of things are always portrayed by films. That's because the film want to create like those tension, those drama, those excitement for the audience. So they're making those scientists and artists obsessed with the work, and as if that's all they do. That's not true. I really like the new film Tick Tick Boom. I think they showed more realistic side, more honest side of what it's like to be a writer. That writer is obsessed with his work, that's what he wanted to do, but doesn't mean he doesn't have a resistance. He has his writer's block, he has lots of action, self-sabotaging himself, procrastinate. It doesn't mean he is not working or thinking or creating. It's just a part of the process. If you haven't checked out that movie, you can watch it. I think you're gonna feel very relatable. Yeah, I hope I'm making sense, and I hope this video is a little bit motivational, and then it's helpful. Remember, envy is your motivation, it's your guidance. And remember to check out my film if you are around Phoenix, and be patient, be present, stay creative. I'll see you next week. Bye. Peace.